So, the Habitable project, what is it? Why are we all here? The Habitable project is actually the largest research project on climate change and migration to have ever been funded by the European Commission's Horizon 2020 program, which means it's a huge project. It's actually got 21 partners from 18 different countries, and you are all now partners in the project yourselves. It's about linking climate change, habitability, and social tipping points, scenarios for climate migration. So this project is aimed at advancing our understanding of the current interlinkages between climate impacts and migration and displacement patterns, also in order to be able to better anticipate their future evolution. What this means is that we know there is a relationship between environmental changes, climate change-driven changes on the ground, and the way people make decisions whether to move or not, whether to migrate or not. But we don't understand exactly how these interlinkages work. And part of our responsibility within the project is to really listen to people's perceptions of what's happening around them and how that relates to their decision to move or migrate. So within the project, there are 5 primary methods, and fuzzy cognitive mapping, which is why we're all here today, is one of these primary methods. It's providing a project-wide database of perceptions among different populations about an array of drivers of migration, including environmental, social, economic, and political conditions. And we're looking at both sending and receiving areas. What does that mean? That means that our approach is to basically go into the 5 primary sites, choose one sending location where people are choosing to leave, to migrate away from, and one receiving location where people are moving towards. In general, we see that the sending locations are more often rural areas and the receiving locations are more often urban, sometimes even capital cities. So basically, we're looking at both of these populations and trying to understand how they perceive the changes that influence their decision to move. That can be very many different things, as you will see. And here we've included environmental, social, economic, and political conditions. And I think we're probably likely to hear even more drivers in the field. So within the project, there are also 12 different work packages. So you can see it's already getting quite complex and quite large with the 21 partners. So there are the 5 the 5 primary methods, and then the 12 different work packages. And our method, the fuzzy cognitive mapping method, is our primary tool within work package 2, which is called perceptions and migration decisions. It's our primary tool because we use this method to understand and identify the perceptions, to create a database listing all of these different perceptions, but then to be able to also analyze that data in a way where we can compare the perceptions on the ground with actual climate change data and see whether these are matching, are they mismatched, what that relationship actually is. So, the Habitable project, work package 2, our main concern. The main objective of work package 2 is to investigate how migration decisions are influenced by the perceptions of the impacts of climate change in both sending and receiving areas. So we will do this by using different techniques, including the fuzzy cognitive mapping method, which is obviously the main reason we're all here. Basically, we use this method indeed to create the database on the local population's perceptions of the different drivers, and then use that to identify the main factors influencing migration decisions in the climate of context change, also across different locations. So what I mean is checking the data to see if there are similarities between the sites selected in Ghana, for example, and the sites selected in Thailand. So are these issues that are across all locations similar, or are they very context specific? Then we will compare this data with the actual environmental factors that we can see in different sorts of quantitative data, and compare these perceptions with the actual climate change data. So then, finally, we will use all this information to also create an exhibition of our results. And this is an exhibition that we would also like to show in Habitable, which we'll talk about a bit later. But basically, we don't want to be a kind of extractive or exploitative research. We want to return the information to the populations that have also responded very generously. So then where will we be doing this research? Well, we have 5 primary locations for the Habitable project. We'll be conducting research in a sending site and a receiving site in each of these 5 countries. And they are Mali, Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, and Thailand. And in the next film, we'll talk more about exactly how we're going to conduct our FCM interviews.